This is a reminder of what took place during 2018, and I've gone through the transcripts of every week and pulled pieces out that I think people need to be reminded of, and it shows you the depth. Now, I was going to do this in two shows, Saturday and Sunday, but there's that much. There's almost as much in the last 4 months as there was in the previous 8. That's the escalation as things have gone on. So I thought I'll get some of it out the way tonight, and we'll see how it goes. Now, what it is portions of the intel from each month and some of the op-ed pondering pieces mixed in with a smattering of humour and also music. And let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? Well, as we wind down 2018 and head into 2019 with anticipation of what comes next, perhaps it's time for a recap on what I predicted at the end of 2017. Now, there was a few misses here and there, but a lot did take place, as you will see. And it was said that 2018 will be the year of the unveiling. Everything would be unveiled, and I think we've seen that on many levels this year, and that was a correct saying. The next piece was doors will be opened on all levels. Now, that can be applied to banking, it can be applied to governments, it can also be applied to soul development. And it was up to you to walk through. Now, I know many, particularly in the MeWe chat, have walked through those doors this year, as forecasted would take place. The next part was there'll be new plans, new hopes and new dreams. That's kind of vague. Obviously, there has been new plans put forward. The Trust has been involved with the Social Security, the IRS issue, and also the shutting down of the Fed. So the new plans, new hopes and new dreams have been set up, but not yet delivered. Doors will open to hidden realms and dimensions, which I don't think many will have got that this time last year. I think you all now know what they are. It was said there would be more intel. That's been a certainty. New agreements, that has already started. Arrests and removals will be unveiled. Not as many as we would have liked, but there has been arrests and removals called resigned, but spelt F-I-R-E-D. And they did get unveiled. But to our frustration, certain more higher profile ones, who are still at the bottom of the chain, still roam free. Now, the next part didn't get fulfilled. The foundation will be built with lasting implications for many of us. Now, that was more in reference of the People's Club Foundation. We were hoping to have that released this year, and there was many times when the funds was transferred into the People's Club account, and then they blocked it. It wasn't just the People's Club either. But to counter that, there has been a foundation laid on government levels, particularly in America, particularly in Africa, and also in South America. And we've also laid foundations with Mr. Putin and Mr. Z, and that will be more important going forward in the following year. Now, the next statement was the cabal will be ceremoniously beaten with a stick. That will become prevalent over time. What that means, the stick, they know what that means. certainly some of the top order now. The pen and the truth. Well, the pen that Kim delivered in January 27th certainly sent shockwaves through the cabal corridors, and the truth that's been put out by Kim and also this show has had a far larger impact than perhaps most people realise. The tide has turned. I also said greater clarity will unveil itself on many levels as the year progresses. I think that unfolded, and justice will be served on many, perhaps not sufficient to be fair on that. I also expected a rapid surge in technology, some of it good, much of it not, depending how deep justice bites into the cabal structure. Well, we haven't had some of the more exotic technology released yet, but again, the platform has been built this year. I said we would see a surge of awakening happening early next year, which is not only early 2018, but it ran right throughout the year. I think we've learned more in this year than perhaps any other year combined. And then I said some jump on board the truth train as it departs for its round the world journey. Most people wouldn't have got that at the time, but as time unveiled itself, we heard about the source energy train. Now, it was significant that the last comment in the Treasury, when the Fed admitted that they were bankrupt, and so were all the government agencies and departments and the military, that the Appropriations Committee turned around and said to them, it's about time you jumped on board the Trump and Trust train. I said I expected more exposure of Pedogate and child trafficking. I think we'll all agree that took place, and a greater unveiling on and of organs harvesting, which again has become a lot more prevalent to the public this year. And my final statement for last year was I expect a handful of the big players in the alternative media will come to deeply regret their folly next year. I think, again, without having to mention the names, that again took place. Over this calendar year, MeWe, the MeWe page has increased by 300%. The Facebook has increased by 50%. The Spreaker shows increased by 50%. And the Spreaker followers by 700%. The shows are being listened to by 500% more, and the YouTube followers has doubled, and the Think Different website has increased enormously. So that's the progress of THI. So what of THI? Well, we're kind of near the end of the last shows of the year, and it seems like, to me anyway, we've been going a lot longer than 31 months, as we have covered so much in that time. In the flowing storybook style context and content of our show has delivered many chapters, and so listeners can now see the connections a lot more and where it's also leading to. Our show was built on its name, Truth, Honour and Integrity, and we have tried at all times to deliver shows with content that observes the name of the group. Do we get everything right? No, but many of you will have seen our narrative unfold and explode across the internet this year, largely without endorsement or recognition of where the material came from, apart from a few notable exceptions. And to me, that's okay, as at least the knowledge is getting out. That's the most important thing. And more people are seeing through the illusions and the sleight of hand tactics displayed across much of our community. We came in with this show with the intent of getting people to think and act different. We can't expect change following the old worn out model, which has now failed, and it pleases me to see so many in our group thinking and acting different.